Happy Friday Eve, friend. I'm back with another video. I'm gonna do something a little different because I have my first event. Our church is doing a ladies' tea party, and so there's gonna be about 130 gals. They have some booths where people can sell things. Like I said in previous videos, I'm working on perfecting my recipe for my flavors of sourdough. So I am actually just gonna go bring samples and then have the ladies sample, and if they want to order for me, then they can email me or call me. I'm just gonna bring some samples, so that's what you'll see me do in this video. I'm gonna be making crafts for my table, setting up my table, and then making the bread that I will be giving away at the ladies' tea party. So also, apologies for there being no video last week. I started a new job, so as you can imagine, there was a lot of things behind the scenes that were going on. Also, I just wanted to give you all a straight from the beginning to the end process of this entire thing. I wanted you to see the end product too, because I hate when there's multiple parts to things. So I figured it'd just be good to take a break for a week, recoup, and then get a full video started. And yeah, so that is the reason for that. Just wanted to keep you all in the loop, let you all know what the reasoning was, but I'm just so happy you're here. Let's get right into it. Starting off with the crafts, I am first working on my business cards. As you saw there, I was literally just cutting away, making them the perfect size so I could hand them out easily. I actually did a wallet print at CVS and it printed 4, and I thought I was a genius. I got 25 copies, so I was like, oh, I'll have 100 business cards, but I didn't realize that the bleeding would lead to a not so good business card, and that's okay. So I was able to use half of them. So as you saw, I was using the mat to cut the business cards down to size. Like I said, I only ended up using half of the 4, so there's a little bit of overlay that happens. But now I'm moving into the vision that I had. The vision was a little pot with a flower growing out. Now, I couldn't grow something in the amount of time I knew about this event. So I was like, okay, what can I do better? For Easter, I got these little pots, and I thought it would be super cute to go along with the garden theme and pretend that this was like a potted plant. So as you saw, I had the little seedling pots, and I filled them with decaf coffee because that's all I had at my house. I'm trying to use things that are within my house as much as possible. And then I took some skewers from downstairs that we used on the grill, split those in half, put them in the quote unquote dirt, and then I took my business card and taped it to the top. So you can see the skewer is quite long. I want to make sure that it's not, taking up too much space because I didn't know how much room I was going to have. This was the day before we went to go set up, so I wasn't really sure what the booth would look like or what the table looked like, so I was trying to err on the caution and just make sure I was working within the size that I had. Note to self, this does create a bit of a mess. I did drop a bunch of coffee. My room smells like coffee at the moment, but you live and you learn, I decided to put saran wrap around this, and it doesn't look as clean as I would like it. But thinking transportation wise and it sitting out, and I wasn't sure if there'd be children there or it'd be like really tight quarters and someone might bump the table and then have everything sprawling. And I just didn't want there to be any unnecessary mess. So I thought wrapping in cellophane or saran wrap would at least eliminate half of that, because I did have grounds just loosely in the cup. People actually really liked this idea. That they weren't sure what it was at first, so I probably could have marketed that a little bit better, but I just tried to sell them on the idea that this is a way for you to take your seedlings that you got today, properly pot them the way that they need to be, and while you're at it, make yourself a cup of coffee and you can enjoy the bread that I am serving you currently. And if you want to order more, my phone number and email is on the card. And that's kind of how I marketed that. If I wasn't at the booth, they wouldn't have known what any of it was. So thinking in future terms, I might want to try to make things a little more, common to things that people are normally seeing. I just love really cute extra things, and I thought this was exactly that. And once I told them, they thought it was really cute. So I think overall it was a good idea. I'm glad I could get my vision to come to life. Going back to things I got for Easter, my mom got me some seeds because she knew I wanted to plant, but I had these. So I literally took the seeds out of the seedling packet, put it in a Ziploc baggie, labeled it for what it was, whatever. And then I folded them in half and made them and cut them to make it look like this type of garland. And I thought it was so cute with the sweet rope. Like, what my vision was for it to like hang either on the bins that I was going to put up or on the table itself, but that just didn't come out the way I wanted it to because there was nowhere to really attach. But I think in the end it still looked really, really cute, and I'm glad that I took the time to make that. Now I'm moving towards my menu. Try to use everything that was in my house. So I just got married last year, and I've never got around to putting anything on Facebook Marketplace because I'm just one of those people. It takes more time to do it than, post it and give a really good caption and things like that than just like keeping it. So I've decided I'm just going to keep it at this point. And luckily I did, because these were our table numbers. And I used removable vinyl like I am here on it, so I was able to literally take the numbers off and then have it fresh as new. I used alcohol on a Q-tip to rub it off all of the, dust and grime and fingerprints that could have accumulated before I put this vinyl down, because you don't want anything stuck underneath the vinyl. You want it to be as smooth as possible. So that's one thing I would recommend if you are ever using acrylic pieces and vinyl for any event or future wedding situation that you might be going through. That is my number one tip. But I did that for all 3 flavors. So I decided to do a cinnamon raisin, as you saw, cheddar and jalapeno, because I've been working really, really hard on that recipe in particular. And the original, I deemed it, or I coined it, the original sourdough. And I made all 3 signs for that. And then I added a cute little description on the acrylic itself. I found some white acrylic paint markers. I don't know where they came from, but I had them in my house, so I used that. Like I said, just trying to use everything up that I had. And now I am working on prepping the sourdough. I really think now that we are moving into summertime, I'm going to have to find the best place to store my sourdough as it's proofing, because I think the temperature in the kitchen is just getting a tad bit too warm, and you can see it's kind of sticky. This specific dough is quite sticky. I found lots of pieces on my fingers, whereas when I was originally baking back in February or January, that was not the case at all. I was able to roll this up without it being super elastic or sticky towards me. And when I did this, roll back, I don't even know what the initial or the official term is. If you guys know that, please let me know. I just literally call it a push and roll back. It would be firm. And here you can see I had to do a few more extra turns than normal just to get it into the shape of a ball, whereas back in January, like I was saying, it would be 1 or 2 turns and I felt like I was pushing it. And also, I will say, I don't think I show you, but there was a loaf that came out like a disc. I think that ties in with what I'm talking about. Maybe the temperature in the kitchen is changing, or maybe just my sourdough starter is changing over time due to weather or me splitting it. I'm not quite sure, but if you guys have found that to be true, I would love to hear more and then kind of what you did to fix that. Now moving into the cheddar and jalapeno. This is my favorite recipe and I love making it. It's actually more fun to me than the original. I have never made the cinnamon raisin before this night, and it was truly an experience and a half trying to get it perfect the first time, because things are never going to be perfect the first time, but I think I actually did a pretty decent job starting out. But as I was saying, chopping up the jalapeno, I use an entire jalapeno, and I used to do it in a circle like you're used to seeing on most jalapeno flavored things like drinks or food especially. But the feedback I got from my friend that I have been working with was that whenever she was cutting into it, the whole piece would fall out. And so she was like, why don't you try just making it into really small bits, and that way it's in every bite. And I ran along with it one time, and ever since then I've been doing it. And I think it adds just the right amount of jalapeno, because I feel like if you had a whole chunk in your mouth when you took a bite, it would be a little bit too overwhelming. But I think that really changes up the texture and the taste of the sourdough overall. I just think it adds a little bit extra attention to detail, And also, I don't show you, but off camera, I am squishing out all of the possible liquid that's in there. The first time I did this, it was very, very wet. Not to where it was inedible, but to where I was like, ooh, I don't really love the way that this feels. So I've started removing extra moisture from my jalapeno, and I have found the bake to be way better. And I know there's shredded cheddar in this world, but I just refuse. I'm a little superstitious. I refuse to change anything about the past few bakes that I've had that have been positive. So I grate my cheese myself. I grab the blocks and I grate 2 ounces and put it in there as an inclusion. But my husband's like, why don't you just grab the shredded cheese? It's because I'm superstitious and I'm scared that if I change one minute thing, everything's going to go up and I'm going to find another disc in my 55-minute bake, you know? I still have not figured out a better way to score this. If you have the best scoring of bread in the world, please give me some pointers. Let me know what you did or where you found inspiration, how you learned how to do it. I would love to know kind of how to grow from here, because I've been doing the same scoring since I started. But I think it came out just as beautiful as it always does. And that's me showing you the cinnamon raisin. I didn't show you me prepping it because I was honestly too focused on not messing it up to be filming it, because I was just terrified it was going to all go wrong. There is egg mixture that you use to add the cinnamon sugar, and I was just terrified of over dousing it or whatever, so I didn't film that part. But you saw it came out really, really pretty. I let my raisins soak over an hour in some hot water. I learned that trick from the hot cross buns video, or the Easter video that I made hot cross buns in, and so I used that same tactic, and I think that really helped with the moisture in the bake. My sourdough starter has already been a little bit wet, so I didn't want to add any extra moisture. This is the final table, or this is the final booth that I put together the night before, and then this is what it looks like on the day of. I loved getting to meet new gals and talk about something that I'm super passionate about, and so I was super grateful to be there, and I hope there are more opportunities in the future. But that is all I have for you all this week. Hope to see you in the next one.